Good morning. Come on a little bit early today. See if I can grab people early. Well, I've pinned the link to the website in the comments as well. Anybody there? If you are, say hello. Anybody there? Ooh, it's warm this morning, isn't it? Very warm. Oh, I see Deborah's on. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Janice. How are you both? Are you well? Are you melting, Deborah? Morning, Liz. Hello, Ian. Nice of you to join us. Oh, excuse me. How is everyone today? Are you all well? Doing anything exciting today? I think I will be sitting out in the garden later, enjoying the breeze. Deborah's sweating. Surprise, surprise. You don't sweat, Deborah, you glow. Thank you for my coffee, Ian.
So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Carolyn. How are you? Ooh, nice cup of coffee. Just wait for a little bit longer, see if anyone else comes on. While we're waiting, if you, as always, if you can share this live for me, that will be amazing. Since I put that post on last week about people not sharing, loads of you have been sharing our posts and the lives and all sorts of things, which is exceptionally appreciated, so thank you very much for that. And it's definitely helped. We've had loads of new likes on the Valleycraft page, and we've reached a lot more people. Instead of hundreds of people, we've reached thousands of people in our posts. So it's definitely working. It's surprising how much it helps by just taking a couple of seconds to just click the share button, share it on your own timeline. If you're a member of any groups, if you can share it into those groups as well. And even if you don't think you've got any friends that will be interested in crafting, they may know somebody that is interested, or they may know somebody who knows somebody that's interested in crafting. So so please keep sharing, because it helps us. And the more people that watch these lives, the more likely we are to carry on doing them. I wasn't actually planning on doing a live this week, because I did my Alcohol Ink one last Tuesday, because we are working on a paid card making class, so we were going to crack on getting that sorted. But I do enjoy doing the lives, and a lot of people do appreciate them. So so I was having another play last week, end of last week, with the alcohol inks. I've had some new colours in. We've had a lot of new colours in anyway, and I've snaffled a few. So so I thought I would have a play. and do a couple of other techniques, something a little bit different, because I did quite a few different techniques last Tuesday, but this one is a bit different, and it seems to work quite well. Good morning everyone. If you've popped on, say hello. Thank you for sharing if you've shared. I'm just going to share it to a few different groups. Where's the one I'm looking for? Oh, can't find it. Oh, I don't know where that is. There we are. Anyway. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Sarah. How are you? I've got a fly buzzing around me at the moment, driving me potty. That's the only problem when you open your windows, isn't it? Is you get flies buzzing around everywhere. So, shall we make a start? Good morning, Gaynor. I was just saying, anyone that's just come on, if you can share this for me, either now or you can share it later, whichever. That would be brilliant. Helps to get more viewers on. Yeah, so I'm going to be having another go with the alcohol inks. Another technique that I just had to show you. Oh, you're going to make some nice cards again, Donna. Hello, Helen. Yes, so I've got some new colours that I just had to play with. So I've got, there's all sorts of different colours on the website. If you click on the link I pinned, you can go to the website and see all the colours of the alcohol inks that we've got on there. But the new ones that I've got, well, I've got quite a few new ones, but a couple of them are Mermaid, which was lovely, which is a really nice one. Aqua I've got as well, which I think is one of the newer ones. Flamingo, Sunshine Yellow, and I've got Purple Twilight. I've got a purple. Yay! Hi Jackie, how are you? Nice to see you yesterday. Yeah, so I was just itching to try my purple on a card. So yeah, so I had a go at the weekend, and I just thought I'd show you what I've done. So very simple cards, but very effective, I think. So that was the first one that I did. Nice bright cheerful colours. And then this one was more of a sort of a seasidey one with sort of like a sky effect. And you'll also see that on this one I've actually used a new set of nesting dies that I've also just grabbed, because I have been using Phil Martin's rounded corner dies, which are lovely, but the proportions just didn't quite work with an A6 topper, whereas these ones work perfectly. So this is the stitch dot rectangles, and as you can see, it fits. You can do a nice bit of matting and layering, and it fits really nicely with those. So that's the stitch dot rectangles. There's all sorts of different shapes that we've got on the website. These are the new press cut ones. I don't think I put them on the link, but they're on the website. If you just type in press cut, I think it'll come up with them, or nesting for nesting dies. So that's the second one that I did. And the other thing that we've also had in as well is the Archival Ink Pads. Thank goodness, because anyone that saw my live last week will know that the VersaFine that I used is all right, but it just doesn't dry as much, or it doesn't dry at all really. It takes a very long time to dry, which is why I had to heat emboss over the top to get it to actually fix. Yes, Gaynor, a lighthouse. Do you like lighthouses by any chance? Yeah, so we've got the Archival Ink Pads in now. This is the jet black, but there's, I think, we've got 10 different colours, I think, in those. So those are on the website as well. They'll be in the new in section as well. I'm going to be using some alcohol blending solution, and I've actually decanted it into one of these fine nozzle bottles as well, because it can be a bit easier to control sometimes, even though this has got a fine nozzle on it anyway. Sometimes it can come out too quickly, whereas with this you've got a lot more control. So one of the fine nozzle ones, if anyone's got any of these ones or those ones that we sell in the shop, the fine nozzle applicators, the ones with the pin that goes in the top, you can decant it into there as well. So I will be using that. And then the stamp set that I used, it was, don't think you can get it anymore, unfortunately. But this stamp set was from one of the creative stamping magazines. Don't ask me which one, because it doesn't say anywhere on it which one it was. But anyone that regularly gets the creative stamping magazines will have all of these stamps. So I've used the whatever they are, beach huts, and this nice lighthouse scene down the bottom, and then I've used the sentiments. So yeah, so I might have a go with something different today. But yeah, so that's the stamp set that I've used. There's probably lots of other stamp sets available. We are going to be doing a Lavinia stamps order very soon. We've had quite a lot of orders from people already, so we've definitely got enough to place an order now. But if anyone hasn't ordered anything and they would like any of the Lavinia stamps, go to laviniastamps.com, find out the names of the stamps that you want, and the easiest way to do it is to send us a message or an email with a photograph or a screenshot or whatever of the stamps that you want, because they don't actually have any code numbers on the retail website, which is a bit of a pain, but there we are. Good morning, Maria. Yes, the blues are lovely, aren't they? Blues, and of course I've used teal on the back because I thought that went really well with that as well. Good morning, Mum. How are you? Are you all right today? How's the weather in Salisbury? So I'm gonna crack on. I'm gonna show you how to do this one first of all. So I'll put that to the side. And this technique is very simple. And also, regarding the UPO paper that I'm using, this is the UPO that we sell in the shop. We sell a pack of 5 sheets. Normally we sell a pack of 5 sheets for 5 A4 sheets for £6. I have actually reduced the price today to £4.99 on the website. So if anyone does want to order any of the UPO, it is on the website at £4.99 today for a pack of 5 A4 sheets, and then it will go back up to, we're probably going to put it up to £5.99, because £5.99 seems to be, psychologically people think that £5.99 is a much better price than £6, even though it's only a penny different, but it's a psychological thing, isn't it? But at the moment it's £4.99. But even if it was £6 that we paid for it before, most of the samples that I do, I cut down to A6. And I mean, when you look at these cards, you can make a pretty decent sized card just from an A6 sheet, and then you can mat and layer, and you can put it onto another sheet. You can embellish it and make it bigger, just by starting with an A6 topper. So a sheet that size would only work out if it was £6, it would only work out at 30p anyway. At the reduced price, it's going to be 25p. So when you think about that, it's not really costing that much to make a card like that. When you think about the extra card on top of it as well, you know, it's costing you well less than £1. So we think that's pretty good. And it's good fun as well. And enjoying yourself is priceless, isn't it? So, I've got some just sheets of scrap paper underneath, just because I'm going to make a mess, and because I'm using alcohol inks, I don't want to get them on the table or my green mat, whatever you call that, because it will stain them. You can use a glass cutting mat. I wouldn't use a blending mat because it will stain that as well, because it's alcohol. So either just a scrap paper or a glass cutting mat, just to protect your surface, is the best thing to do. And I've got my heat gun handy as well, because I am probably going to give that a bit of a blast just to fix things. But the alcohol inks do dry pretty quickly anyway. So for this one, I actually did two slightly different techniques, same sort of technique, but just slightly different, if that makes sense. So the background I did a stronger colour, and then the beach huts I did in the paler sort of colour. And I think just to mix it up, I might actually do exactly the same thing but reverse it. So I might do the beach huts in the stronger colour and then the background in the paler colour. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Why not, eh? Let's throw caution to the wind. Good morning, Peter. How are you? Thank you, everyone that's shared. It does work. Our views have gone up quite a bit, so that's good. So the colours I'm going to use, I'm going to stick with the same colours I did last time, I think. So I've got mermaid. So unscrew that one. I've got flamingo. I've got sunshine yellow. And then my absolute favourite, purple twilight. So as I said in my last live, you can unscrew the lids, even though they're alcohol based. You can unscrew the lids and leave the lids off, because as you can see from this one, some of the ink actually gets pulled up into the nozzle, so that tends to give a bit of protection so the ink doesn't end up evaporating, and it's quite a narrow hole anyway, so it's not going to evaporate too much. So you can leave the bottles open for a while. Yeah, they are nice colour. Oh, they're very much like your rainbow, Peter. Very similar. Right, so I'm going to start off. The first one I'm going to do is I'm going to do the stronger colour one first of all. And I'm going to do it in slightly different order as well, just to make it a bit different. So all you need to do with this technique, it's a bit like you may have seen a similar sort of technique with dye-based inks and distress oxides and things like that, where you dribble. It's a bit of a sort of a dribbly effect. So that's what I'm going to do today, but I'm going to do it with the alcohol inks. So I'm just going to start at the very top. I'll start at the top over here. You can probably see that anyway, can't you? And then I'm just going to put some of the ink right along the top, and I'm going to squeeze the bottle a little bit, and then I'm going to watch it run. And because this is on UPO, it does spread and run quite happily. Don't worry about using too much of the alcohol ink, because a pot like this, a little bottle like this, is going to last you for ages. You don't need a lot at all. There we are. So that's Don't worry if it doesn't go to the bottom, we'll sort that out later. I'm going to go in with the red now, what's this? Pink Flamingo. And then just make sure it blends in a little bit with the first colour. And as it mixes in, you'll see that you get a little bit of a change in colour as well. So there's a hint of purple going on there. Surprising how much they spread. I'm going to put a bit of yellow. I'm going to get a nice bit of orange going on there as well. And you can give it a little bit of a helping hand as well, just to make sure that it spreads as you want. Yes, that's a good point, Ian. You can leave your alcohol ink bottles open, but make sure that you leave your bottle lid with your bottle. So that's what I tend to do, just off screen. I've got my bottle and then I've got my lid behind it, because if you do get any of the ink in the lid and then you mix up the bottles, so I end up mixing the purple with the yellow, then it will contaminate the ink. So you just have to be aware of that. And then my favourite colour is the purple, which I'm going to dribbly down. Clean hands still at the moment as well. It's mad, isn't it? So it's not a messy technique. It may look a little bit messy, but it's not too bad. Peter's asking, can you blow the colours with a straw to mix them as they run, or would they dry too quickly? You can blow them. They do dry pretty quickly, the alcohol inks, but yeah, you can blow them. You can use either a straw. You can just move them as it's flowing, or you can even use a heat tool as well, but that would obviously help it to dry a bit quicker. But yeah, but when you look at that, that's more or less dry now. And you can actually see it drying. I don't know if you can see that, but I can actually see it drying as it goes from sort of like a glossy finish to a matte finish. So yeah, it does dry very quickly. So what do you think? That's fab, isn't it? I love the colours in that. Now the only thing I've got down here is I've got a little bit of a white bit, but I'm not too worried about that. What I'm going to do is I've got my trusty blending tool, which are on the website, and let's see if I've got a little felt pad that I can use with that one, because you can, I mean, this pad, as you can see, I've used it before. It's dirty, but it doesn't make any difference at all because it's all dried on there, and it won't affect the finished result. So what I'm probably going to do is just do a little bit of blending down the bottom. I think rather than putting any more colour on, I'm just going to blend it a little bit. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of my blending solution and then just blob a bit onto my felt, and then I'm just going to some of the colour that was on there before is showing through, but it doesn't matter because a lot of this is going to be covered up anyway. So if I wanted to add some more colour, I can add some more colour to it as well. So I think I might add a little bit more of the mermaid. Just a hint of the mermaid. And because it's got the blending solution on there, you can see it sort of just bursts. but it can give, you can get some amazing effects with the alcohol inks. So I'm just going to give this a quick blast with my heat tool. That looks nice on there as well, doesn't it? Just a very quick blast there. So most of that is dry, but I shall leave that to the side for a little bit. And I've actually done it the wrong way around as well, because I was going to do the other bit, wasn't I? But there we are, it doesn't matter. I can use the bottom bit for another piece. So I'll leave that to the side for a little bit, and then I'll work on the more subtle one. So a fresh piece of Yupo, and cut down to A6 again. Right, so this one I was going to do the more subtle one, and this was going to be my background, wasn't it? Yes, that's what I was going to do. So same colours again. Doesn't matter which order you do them in. You can mix them up if you want. Do it a little bit of a different order. I might do a little bit of which one shall I do? Shall I shuffle those two around? Make sure I change my lids around as well. So I don't want to do it the same. I want to do it slightly differently. So right. So with this is exactly the same technique, but with this one you just need to use a bit of blending solution with it as well. So the blending solution will obviously help it to flow better, and will also make it more subtle. So the colours aren't quite as vibrant. So put some of the colour on, and you don't need so much either, because when you put the blending solution on, I'm just going to drop a bit of the blending solution on there. And then if you wanted a bit more, that's the nice thing about these fine nozzle ones, is you can be a bit more precise with it. You can just drop smaller amounts and just let it flow, let it flow. Well, so while that's flowing, let's go on with another colour. Let's go with the flamingo pink. So, and some of the flamingo pink, and then a couple of drops of the blending solution. The blending solution does make it go more of a vibrant pink as well. It's just quite interesting to watch it and see what it does. Watch it as it flows. And then, oh yeah, then the mermaid. Or should I go for the purple? Let's go for the purple next, shall we? Purple twilight. And then a little bit of the blending solution. And just let that run and do its own thing. No, Deborah, you can't put them in the spray bottle. No, because they're alcohol, I wouldn't advise putting them, and certainly don't put the alcohol blending solution in a spray bottle, because that's not good for your lungs. Bad for your health. But no, I wouldn't put them in the spray bottle, because you're not going to get the effect. You're not going to be able to do all these sort of techniques if it's in the spray bottle. So this is, as you can see, this is a little bit more of a subtle, trying to get a little bit of more colour in there. And as you can see, if you add blending solution to it, it just it lightens it, and helps the ink to spread better. Yeah, so that's a bit more, as you can see, it's a bit more subtle, but it's nice to have the contrast, I think. It's nice to have the contrast of the different effects. And this one is the one I was going to do at the back, wasn't I? I keep forgetting that. So try and get a little bit more colour going down. Just help that to spread a bit. Doesn't matter if there's going to be a white bit at the bottom, because I'm going to put my, that's where I'm going to put my stamp, so it doesn't matter if you can see a bit of white. I think it looks quite nice like that as well. It's quite an interesting effect. So this was just basically me playing. I wonder if, because I've seen this sort of technique done with inks, with dye-based inks and things like that, and then just spritzing the card. So I thought, oh, I wonder if it'll work with the alcohol inks, and I tried it and it does. So, and I think it's really nice. Good blast. And then what I'll probably do is leave this to the side for a little bit, because I do find that when you use blending solution, it does take a little bit longer to dry. When the areas that sort of merge, they end up being a little bit tacky. You can sort of, if you put your finger on it, you can just feel it's a little bit sticky. So all you need to do is just to leave it aside for a couple of minutes, and then those areas will dry completely, and they won't be tacky anymore. So yeah, so that was the first one I did with just the colour on its own without any blending solution, and then that was the second one with the blending solution. So you can see the difference. It just helps to blend the colour, and it does tend to make it a bit more subtle. So very easy to do. And right now I'm going to use this one for my, yeah, that's all dried, for my stamping. So I'll leave the background to the side for the moment, and grab my stamp set. Thank you, Maria. It is nice, isn't it? It's fun as well. You can get all sorts of different... Oh, what's my mum asking about knobs? The knobs come off my bottle. Do you have spare ones? Really don't know how to answer that, Mum. Depends on what type of bottle you're on about. Are you on about these sort of ones, or are you on about these sort of ones? These are the ones that have got the pins, the fine nozzle ones with pins. And these are the ones we don't actually sell them anymore, but we used to sell the fine nozzle ones with the like the rubbery lid thing. Right, so I'm going to stick with the beach huts, I think, for this one, because it's a nice simple shape. And we do like simple. So I've got my trusty press to impress. When you're stamping onto Yupo, I would always recommend using a stamping tool, because the nature of Yupo, because it is a synthetic material, it is a bit slippery. and so when you stamp on it, if you freehand stamp, there is a chance that your stamp will slide a little bit. So it's always advisable to use a stamping platform, because there's zero chance basically of it sliding. So I'm just going to put this where I want it. If I put it at the top here, then I can stamp that, and then I can cut around it, and then this bit at the bottom I can then use for another project. So you're not wasting anything. So pick that up. The one with the pin, Mum. We don't sell the replacement ones. These replacement doodahs. We sell the spare pins. We do a pack of stainless steel pins, because a lot of people either lose the pins or the pin head breaks. So we do sell the stainless steel pins in a pack, but we don't sell these nozzly things separately. So I'm just going to ink this up with, this is the Archival ink, which is definitely the best ink to use on Yupo, because I have tried all sorts of inks and the Archival definitely gives the best result. It gives a nice clean stamp even with silhouettes, and it dries, well, it dries full stop. Because this is a non-porous material, a lot of ink pads just don't dry on it. Oh, and that's the ink, that's the actual alcohol ink there. So you can see it gives a really nice crisp image. I think you can probably see that, can you? Nice crisp image. Really nice. Oh, where's my... Let me just grab my cloth. Get me cleany cloth. And then all you need to do is just give it a wipe. No, because this is it's a permanent ink, permanent waterproof ink. Yeah, it says it dries on glossy cardstock. It dries within 20 minutes, or you can use a heat tool to dry it quicker. It does say to clean with a non-toxic cleaner, but as long as you just wipe your stamp straight away, that makes it nice and clean anyway, and you're fine. So that's my stamping done there. So I'm just going to give that a very quick blast with my heat tool just to dry it, because you can see, don't know if you can see or not, but it is a bit, while it's wet, it is a little bit glossy. So if you did want to heat emboss, put your embossing powders over the top, you can do that. There we are, I'm just going to give that a quick... See, if I tried doing that with the VersaFine, it wouldn't dry. It would still be wet. But that is now more or less dry. Yep, more or less dry. Well, it is dry. Yeah, whereas VersaFine would still be wet even if you'd used a heat tool to try and dry it. So because this is quite a nice simple design as well, that's why I choose it. I'm just going to quickly cut around it. Just going to leave a little bit of a border. The other thing about Yupo as well is you can cut it, and you can die cut it as well. I did post, I think I posted, did I post? Or I might have been on the on our private group, but I did try die cutting some flowers out of Yupo the other day, and it cut really well, because I'd heard that you can die cut it anyway, so I thought I would give it a go, and it worked perfectly. It makes a bit of a noise when it goes through the machine, it does do a bit of a crackle, but no, it cut the flowers lovely, nice and crisp. Because normally with plastic things, like if you tried to die cut acetate, it wouldn't work. There we are, so nice and easy. And I always find it's nice if you just go around, leave a bit of a border around the edge. It looks nice, and it makes the cutting a lot easier as well. Can you imagine trying to get into all of these little nooks and crannies? So there we are. So that's just going to show you as well the difference. So that was the one I did on my first card, and that's the one I've done on my second card. So you can see that that one was more subtle, and then this one I've done it out of the alcohol ink with no blending solution on that. So that's that. And then this is my, yeah, it's all dry now, it's not sticky anymore. So this is my background piece, which I used the blending solution with. And then if I put that on the top, you can see that even though there's a little bit of white there, I mean, if you wanted to completely cover it up, you could do. You can put some more alcohol ink on there and blend it, maybe spread some more of the yellow around. But I quite like it like that. I think it's nice having a little bit of the white there as well. So so that's going to go there, and then all I need to do is just add a couple more stamped bits just to the background. So get my press to impress, and then this stamp set has got a really nice horizon. Let me show you on this. It's got a really nice sort of horizon, beachy sort of scene with the boats in it. So that goes really nice just behind the beach huts, just to give it a bit of depth. So then all I need to do is just work out where my beach huts are going to go. Bring that up a little bit. And then I'm going to put my horizon sort of just there, so it's just behind the beach huts, I think. And the thing about this is, because I'm using the stamping tool, I can just put it where I want it to go, pick up the stamp, take my beach huts out the way, I should put them over there, and then I can ink up with my Archival ink. And there are other colours as well. Cobalt blue is one of the ones we've got, so I mean that might be quite nice just to have a bit of blue in there. So just stamp that onto there, nice and lightly. Well, and just gives it a bit of depth. Give that a wipe. See, the ink, as long as you do it straight away, the ink comes off really easily. Obviously, if you leave it for 20 minutes or something, then the ink will probably end up drying on there. But if you wipe it off straight away, then the ink comes off without any problems. So this is a great stamp set because everything that I need is on this stamp set. So then I've got some birds, and then I've got a sentiment as well. Now the sentiment I used last time was nothing soothes the soul like a walk on the beach. So I think I'll use the same. Incidentally as well, I did try, because I've been having a bit of a play to see what I can do and what I can't do. I did actually try stamping onto UPO paper first of all with the Archival ink, drying it off and then adding alcohol inks over the top, because I wondered if you could do it either way, but you can't. I don't know what I did with my... Oh yeah, there we are. I tried it with the beach, this beach sign. I stamped that first of all, and then I added alcohol inks over the top and a bit of blending solution, and that's what it did. So it doesn't work if you wanted to do it if you wanted to try doing it that way, because I think because of the alcohol and the blending solution as well, it just bleaches it out too much and blends it, and just looks a bit of a awful mess. So I wouldn't try that if I were you. So I would always put the alcohol inks first of all, and then put your stamp on, your stamped elements on afterwards. So I think I'm going to have to go for the over that side again, because that's paler, isn't it? Make sure that's lined up. And then I'm going to put some birds. Ooh, I don't know, should I put the birds up there? For change? Just trying to mix it up a little bit. Or do I put them down the bottom? Yeah, leave them down the bottom, I think. Stick with what you know. Oh dear, Mum. Yes, thank you, my dad. My back isn't too bad. Still a little bit stiff, but it's not hurting so much now. So I'm just making sure that I keep moving. And no, there isn't any vodka involved. It's a little bit too early for vodka, I think. But that is one thing to remember as well with the alcohol inks. When you're working with alcohol inks, make sure you're in a well ventilated room, because obviously there is alcohol. Some of it will evaporate and you will get a little bit of a smell. It's not too, I don't really notice it, but then I've got the windows open. Oh, see, look at that. Comes out really nice, crisp image. If you wanted to make it even crisper or even darker, you could stamp again over the top, because you've got your stamping tool, but I think I'm quite happy with that. So just wipe off my ink to clean the stamps. Put those over the side. And then I'm just going to give this a quick blast with the heat tool, just to make sure that the ink is dry, because there's nothing worse than putting your finger in it and smudging it. Just a quick whiz over. because it's synthetic paper, plastic. If you heat it, it will eventually, if you hold it too long with the heat tool, then it will start to buckle a little bit. But if anyone watched my previous lives, you will have seen that I heat embossed with it, so I did have to hold the heat tool there for a bit longer to make sure that the embossing powder melted. But it's not the end of the world, because you can just, as long as you stick it well, then it shouldn't be a problem. So I'm just going to put some foam pads on the back of this. Couple of foam pads, just to give it a bit of dimension. Ooh, hello Alison. Oh, you're called Alison's Cakes and Cards now. Yeah, Alison had a little bit of a fall last week when she was doing some DIY, which wasn't good. So I hope you're feeling a bit better this week, Alison. I know how you feel, a bit stiff. I've been a bit stiff as well. There we are. So that's just raised it up a little bit, as you can see. Just gives it a bit of a foreground. And then all I would do, I love matting onto black, as you probably know. So I would probably just mat onto black, and I'm probably going to grab hold of my Stitch Dot nesting dies, and I'll use one of those to mat it onto some black. I just think it makes it pop, and especially because I've used black ink as well in the images, I just think it looks lovely like that. Oh dear, excuse me. So what do we think? Nice? So those are the two different ones. You got the first one I did the stronger colour on the back, and then the paler colour on the front. And then this one I've reversed it, and I've done the paler colour on the back and then the stronger colour on the front. And as you can see, every single time that you do it, it will look a bit different, which I think is brilliant. You know, it's nice to be different, isn't it? And unique. Well, so that's that one. And then all I did with this one, I matted and layered it onto a piece of black card, and then I've just simply put it onto an A4 folded in half card blank, because you don't need anything else really, I don't think. I mean, if you wanted to put some stamp around the edge or put in another piece of pattern paper behind it, you could do that, but I just think it looks nice like that, just nice and simple. Yeah, so those are those two. So that's how I did that. So I'll put those to the side now, and then I shall quickly show you how I did this one. So I don't need some of these colours now, so I'll put those away. So I don't need this one. I've actually used 3 different colours. I've used the Mermaid, which is the colour that I've used previously. So Mermaid is a lovely colour. It's a sort of a tealy, greeny, bluey sort of colour, which is a bit what teal is like anyway, isn't it? Then I've used Sailboat Blue, and I've used aqua. Ooh, I can get the lid off of that one. And aqua is a very pale, subtle sort of colour. Aqua, I think, is the colour that I use at the top on this one. I keep finding hairs everywhere. It's because I cut my hair this morning. Yeah, so this one, I'm actually going across the Yupo to give that sort of cloudy effect. So again, take a sheet of the A6, so it's an A4 sheet that I've just cut down to into 4 A6s. Yeah, I knew Gaynor would like this one. And I'm sure you've got a lighthouse stamp somewhere, maybe, Gaynor? I think you've already got the mermaid though, Gaynor, because I think you bought it when you saw my mermaid sample the other day. I did one with a mermaid. I did the same sort of technique as I did last week with inking around, blobbing around the border, and then using the blending solution just to disperse the colour a bit. And then I stamped a mermaid in the corner. I've taken her into work now, so I can't actually show you. Stamped a mermaid in the corner and a sentiment, and it came out really nice. It looked really, really effective. So I know Gaynor bought the mermaid and some of the other colours as well. It may have been the aqua as well. I don't know if I use aqua in the background. So yeah, so for this one I'm going to be doing more or less exactly the same sort of technique, but I'm going to be working across. Instead of going down the sheet of Yupo, I'm going to be working across because I'm going to be doing a cloud effect. So I might actually mix the colours up a little bit. I'm going to start with Sailboat blue, and then, oops, I'm blobbing it all over the place, and then I'm just going to stick some of that on. Going to be using the blending solution again, because the blending solution will help to move the colour, and it also gives it a more of a subtle finish. And it doesn't matter if you've got white areas, because obviously in the sky you're going to get whiter areas and darker areas. And then the only other thing I would do is, once you're happy with where you got it, is use your heat tool to fix it. Because if you don't use your heat tool, then the colour will carry on moving until it eventually dries. So if you're happy with where it is and you don't want it to blend anymore, then just give it a quick blast with your heat tool, and then it won't move. So add a bit of, this is the mermaid. Just going to blend it in with the other colour as well, and then just use some of the blending solution along there. And as you're doing it, you can sort of see what's appearing. Sometimes you see things and you think, oh, actually that looks more like could be rolling hills. Could be under the sea as well. Under the sea. You could do an under the sea scene. There's so many different possibilities for these. And then this is the aqua, which is the palest colour out of the three that I've chosen. So I'm going to try not to use any blending solution on that if I can, because if I use blending solution it's going to make it even paler. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. And I mean, when you look at these bottles, when you think how much blending solution I'm actually using here, it's not a lot. These are going to last you a long time. Obviously it depends on the technique you're using, but yeah, you don't need a lot at all. So that could be a rolling hills scene there, couldn't it? Could put some trees in there. Oh, see that? I'm thinking now. And then I'm going to put a little bit more at the bottom, just to make sure that. Which colour shall I go for? Shall I go for the? I might go for the blue, I think, and then I might just try and. Oops, this one keeps splashing everywhere for some reason. Use a bit of the blending solution, just to blend it and to make it a bit more subtle as well. So you can see it. It's quite fascinating watching it as it blends and moves. Just try and bring that up a little bit. Yes, you could do like a sunset scene as well if you wanted. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Fix that quickly with my heat tool. Hello Diane, how are you? Is it Christmas yet? Diane's crazy for Christmas. She usually puts her Christmas decorations up really early. Well, so yeah, that could quite easily be a nice rolling hill scene, couldn't it? You could put a nice tree up there somewhere, and maybe some sheep or something on the mountain. But I'm going to stick with what I'm doing now, I think. I'm going to stick with my seaside scene. So anyone got any questions? Anything they want me to explain or try? Yep, that's more or less. Yep. There's a little bit over there that's a little bit sticky, but then that was where the blending solution sort of pulled a bit more. And I've got it on my hands as well. So I finished with those now, so I'm going to put the lids back on those, because the last thing I want to do is knock them over and end up with alcohol ink all over Ian's lovely table, and I don't think he would appreciate that. There we are. So I'm going to do a bit of stamping. Now on my first one I actually did a bit of what's the word? Masking. I actually did a bit of masking on this one. I actually stamped this stamp first of all, down in the bottom corner, and then actually cut a mask out of paper and stuck it over the top, and then I stamped the lighthouse scene in there. But when I looked at it afterwards, I thought, well, you can't really see, because it's quite a sort of a line arty drawn design. You can't really see these at the front. I mean, I could have painted them, coloured them in with alcohol colouring pens or something like that. But yeah, so I don't think I'll bother doing that on this one. I'm just going to use the lighthouse down here. Diane said she's going to trim up in September. Definitely not, Gavin. Definitely not what? There we are. So my trusty press to impress again. And then I usually tend to, you can butt it up to the top and to the left if you wanted, but because I'm going to be using this stamp and it's going to be overlapping to the left hand side a little bit, as long as you butt it up to one of the edges, that's the most important thing, because at least then you know it's going to be square. Otherwise, if you do it like that, you may end up going a bit wonky. So always try and butt it up to one area, one edge, as long as you can. And then I'm going to be stamping down here, so I need to make sure my magnets aren't in the way. And make sure my lighthouse is on there, don't I, Gainer? And there's a little house there as well, so make sure those magnets are okay there. That's the nice thing about the stamping tool, is you can position your stamp where you want it first of all, make any adjustments, and you haven't committed to anything. You haven't ended up inking and making a mess. Oh, ink on my table. So again, I'm using the Archival ink. This is the jet black. If you're going to be stamping onto UPO, I would always recommend using the Archival ink. I have tried all sorts of other inks and none of them work as well as the Archival. Either they don't work at all, or they end up leaving a bit of a what's the word? Sometimes they can leave, when you stamp, they leave a halo, that's the word. They leave a bit of a halo. But the Archival ink it's a really nice, clear, crisp image. Push up there a little bit more. And it does dry on the UPO, which is the important thing as well. Missing that little bit there. There we are, that'll do, I think. Yeah, so with this stamp, it's just a full foreground scene in itself, really, isn't it? You don't really need anything else there. Have you got this stamp set, Gainer? Oh yes, Diane, you need a press to impress. I think we've still got one in stock in the shop as well, so if you want to grab one, we can drop it off to you. You can order for store pickup and we'll drop it off to you, because you're only up the road. But they are brilliant. Donna loves hers and I love mine as well. Revolutionises stamping. And even Ian loves his. So before I stamp the top bits, I'm just going to give it a quick dry, because it's stamping onto UPO, it does take a little bit longer to dry. Yes, I think we have got the spare magnets. They finally came back into stock. So yeah, they should be on the website. See, the only mess that I've been making really, apart from the couple of blobs from the alcohol ink, was mainly from the ink. Probably from the ink from this actually. I don't want to end up leaving fingerprints all over it. There we are. So then make sure it's butted up to the top again. Put some magnets on there to make sure it stays in place. And then, see, I mean, I could use the same one. I could use nothing soothes the soul like a walk on the beach. But it's not really a beach, is it? There's thinking of you, best wishes, happy birthday. You know, there's all sorts of different stamps on here. You could even put like a nice, maybe put that behind a nice sunset scene. That'd be quite nice as well, wouldn't it? Or even that one. That'd be quite nice as well. You can layer it up, do a bit of a mask. I'm going to do thinking of you. Because thinking of you doesn't have to be sad, does it? Thinking of you can be just to show someone that you're thinking of them, that they're in your thoughts. Especially in these difficult times. Yeah, so I'm going to use my bird stamp again as well. And that area is screaming out for the birds. And then I'm going to put, ooh, now where do I put it? Do I put thinking of you there, or do I put it right at the top? Is that going to be too low? Yeah, I think that's going to be too low. I'm going to stick it at the top, I think. Move my birds up a little bit. And I'll do thinking of you there, I think. Make sure it's level, I think it is. There is a grid on the front of the stamping tool as well, so you can actually look at that just to make sure that your stamps are lined up. So pick those two up. Yeah, so Diane, if you just go to the website, search for Press to Impress, or even if you just start typing press, it'll probably come up anyway. Order it for store pickup and then you won't get charged delivery, and then we can just drop it up to you because you're only up the road. Not a problem. So we are actually hoping to be opening up the shop again next week. We're just waiting for Mark Drakeford, is it, to make an announcement. It's either going to be on Thursday or Friday this week, I think, to say what non-essential shops can do. But I'm pretty sure that they'll probably say that we can open up again from next week because our infections, the R rate is lower in Wales, I think, than in England, and shops in England have already opened, so so I'm pretty sure that they'll say that we can open next week. So I think initially we're going to be doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday, and I think we're going to be opening from 10 till 2 on all 4 days. Of course, you can still order on the website for store pickup or delivery, and we'd encourage people to carry on doing that if you can, because obviously store pickup, contactless store pickup in the shop is going to be the safest way of collecting any orders. But there will obviously be people that want to come into the shop just to have a bit of a browse, or if you're not quite sure what you want. But it will be limited. There we are. So that's those. Shove those over there. Make sure my fingers are clean. There we are. And then I'm just going to give that a quick dry. Yeah, so our landlord is pretty hot on hygiene at the moment as well. I think because he doesn't want to get sued if anyone gets coronavirus. So I know he's going to be introducing hand sanitizers in the foyer as well, so people can sanitize their hands before they come into the shop. And I think Rhiannydd is going to be doing a deep clean this week to make sure that it's all nice and safe for anyone that does want to come in. So it'll probably be next Monday, but keep your eye on Facebook, and if you're on our mailing list, I'll send an email out to everyone when we know anything as well. And then the only other thing I was going to do, just to show you, so I've done my stamping, but just to sort of bring out a little bit more interest in the lighthouse, what you can do is you can use the blending solution as a bit like when you're watercolouring and you use water to bring out, to, what's it called, dull the colour. You can actually use blending solution in the same way with your alcohol inks. No, I think I tried it last time and it was alright. I've tried this before. Yeah, so I just put a little bit of the blending solution in there. Actually, I think I might have tried it when I heat embossed.
Be careful, because it'll take the line art out.
So yeah, so that's the only thing I think is, because it's blending solution and I've used the Archival ink.
Because you said you might
If
colour
you're
the
not careful.
stones with alcohol pen as well, which we've got to keep away from line art. Unless you're feet embossed.
So yeah, so because I've used the Archival ink, as you can see, it does actually take away some of the line art as well. If you wanted to avoid that, the best way to do it would be to use your embossing powder to heat emboss, and then you would be able to take away some of the alcohol colour. Oh, bye Mum, thank you for joining us. So that's all I'm going to do on that. And as you can see, it's a nice, simple way of creating a nice piece of art. Nice and easily. And again, what I would do is I would... Why is that a different side? How did I manage to cut that a different size, I wonder? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, so I would use the stitch dot rectangle nesting dies and then mat and layer that onto those. Why is that a different size to that? It's the same size as that. Oh, for some reason I made that one a bit bigger. Oh, that's odd, isn't it?
You can watercolour on Newports, so you can take the watercolour pens.
There we are. So that's that one done. Just do a bit of that matching and layering, and then that was the first one that I did. The best way to show this, I'll put those there and then those there. There we are. So two completely different looks, but the same sort of technique, using lots of the alcohol inks. So on the seaside one I used the Mermaid, Sailboat Blue and Aqua, and then on the beach scene one I used Flamingo, Sunshine Yellow, Purple Twilight and Mermaid, which was this sort of greeny bluey sort of colour. Anyone got any questions before I sign off? Are we all okay? And as I said, until the end of today, the packs of UPO are reduced to $4.99 for a pack instead of $5.99. So it's £1 off. And because I cut it down to A6, although this one I don't know what I did with that one, that's going to work out 25 pence a piece, which is not bad, is it, at all? You're welcome, Peter. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, Carolyn, for joining us. Thank you, Donna. Thank you for all the loves and likes. So if you haven't already shared this live for us, please share it afterwards, or share it afterwards anyway, on your own timeline or any groups that you're members of, any crafty groups, just so that they can see it, and it encourages more people to watch, and helps to keep us going, which is always a good thing, isn't it? Thank you, Deborah. Goodbye. Thank you, Gaynor. Yeah, you definitely need to have a play. Good fun. Really good fun. And there's loads of different techniques. If you watch my live from last Tuesday, you'll see that there's all sorts of different, completely different techniques that you can do with the alcohol inks as well. So thank you for joining us. I'm gonna go and enjoy the sun while it's here, although it's getting a bit cloudy now. It's typical. And we shall hopefully see you again soon. I'm not sure when we'll be back on again for doing lives. We are going to be doing a paid class that Ian is just finishing at the moment. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, but watch this space, and we'll keep you appraised of what's going on. So thank you. Keep safe, everyone, and we may see you next week if we're back open in the shop again. Okay? Thank you. Love you all. Bye.